Hi everyone, this is Ethan McKinley and welcome to the 2-Minute Terminator. It's episode 29 and we're going from minutes 56 to 58, the 2 minutes bridging that gap. And on the other end of the line is my charming co-host, Ellie Fitzgerald.
Hi!
How are you, Ellie?
Yes, I'm very well. How are you?
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was very chilled.
Now you saw Doctor Strange, didn't you?
I did indeed.
And how was it?
I really enjoyed it.
Don't answer that question, because you have to say...
Hit the music.
I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger, to me.
Load up.
You didn't do the fourth. Thank God. It sucked.
Yeah. Yes, hello everyone, welcome back. I am Ethan McKinley, she is Ellie Fitzgerald, and this is the 2-Minute Terminator. It is, as I said before, episode 29, and we're going from minutes 56 to 58, the 2 minutes bridging that gap. It starts with the FBI arriving, and it ends with the FBI going, hey, 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 after Carl Reese berates Sarah Connor for being essentially bossy and barking orders at people and being a general dom, as opposed to his sub, as he desperately tries to cling on to his alpha maleness and his oversized muscles that he definitely wouldn't have in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
What does post-apocalyptic actually mean? Because apocalyptic means the end. How can you have something that's post to the end?
I was literally about to ask that question myself.
It actually doesn't make any sense at all.
It's after the end. Hasn't it already ended? So, Ellie, how was your weekend and how was Doctor Strange? I've asked you like 40 times and I've still never got a proper answer. What was it like?
It was good. I've been told that it's one of the best because apparently it's so like the comics and how it should be. It's not my favourite, but I did really enjoy it. Come in my batch's American accent is a bit patchy in places.
Because he talks really slow and croaky, doesn't he?
It's just... In some of it sounded good, and in others it didn't. It just sounded like Benedict as normal. But I loved all the magic and all the special effects were really, really cool. It was trippy as fuck. It was really visually,
so it wasn't one of the best Marvels?
I don't think it was, but Warwick, who's like one of the biggest nerds I've ever met, he said that for him was the best Marvel film.
Whoa. Why did he say that?
Because he said it was very true to how it should be. He said it was very much like the comic books. The acting he thought was really great. And it was good. But for me, you're really going to have to go some to beat Captain America. Both of those, the first film, Winter Soldier, and the second film, which was, what was the second one? I always forget what it's called.
The Winter Soldier is the second one. The third one is Civil War.
Ah, Civil War. And what was the first one? Is it just Captain America?
Yeah. No, Captain America. Well, it's called the First Avenger in this country for some stupid reason.
Yeah, what was the first one called?
Captain America, the First Avenger.
Oh.
The second one is third one is Civil War. The second one is the Winter Soldier. Sorry, listeners. It's a bit confused.
Winter Soldier and Civil War, I think they're, for me, the best Marvel films so far.
So what did Doctor Strange actually lack? Because it's about magic, so is it like a different... Because Marvel films were getting, I guess...
It does, yeah. It does feel quite different in the fact that it's not necessarily... I mean, obviously there is...
the Marvel template.
Yeah. It is very much... it's more in the vein, I'd say, as like Thor, because that's kind of a bit more to do with magic, but then there was still that huge battle between heaven and earth kind of scenario. Whereas with this, although it did have that actor in that I really, really like, I never know what his name is. He played the villain in the first Daniel Craig Bond film, the one that would like bleed from his eye.
Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Hannibal, which you are watching,
yes,
I think.
Yes, really enjoying that actually, really good. So he was in it. He was really cool. It was good. It was all very magical and. You know, watching Cumberbatch learn to use his hands again. I mean, I had no idea who Doctor Strange was, so for me it was really cool. But yeah, it just lacked that little kind of edge to it. I don't know. I thought it was good, but it wasn't the best.
What was the edge though? So you said it's trippy. Why is it trippy?
So when it's quite spiritual. So all those people that love talking about chakras and things like that, it will feed very well into their kind of like belief system.
Right.
It's very much it's all about the universe basically, and obviously Doctor Strange, he loses the use of his hands pretty much because his nerves are completely shattered, because he has some car accident. And when he's learning to like let go, because obviously being a doctor of his kind of level, everything is about infinite control and having control over your hands, having control over your mind and what you can do and what you can achieve, and the whole learning process. Whereas what he then has to do is to completely lose control, so then he can then step into that different realm, into that different universe, and then access all these different gateways into different universes. There's the mirror universe, there's the they're completely changing dimensions and things like that. It's crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of magic, a lot of dipping into different worlds and things like that.
Was it not a bit of an Inception rip-off with all the bendy cities and buildings?
Do you know what? I didn't actually think of Inception once when I watched it, so I would say no.
Oh.
And that wasn't a huge part of it. It's only kind of when they're battling that they do that. And it's
Would it be good to watch high?
Oh, hell yeah. Literally, the whole time I was like, dude, if I'd eaten those hash brownies today.
Yeah, if you go and see it in IMAX 3D, tripping balls, apparently. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, no, now that, I will actually say, that is a film that I would consider seeing in 3D, because all the other films I've seen in 3D were shit.
Right.
They were not good. I was just like, this isn't that great. Although, a friend of mine who... I used to have this friend, and he was very, very, very wealthy.
You still have a friend?
I used to have a friend. He actually had 3D glasses. They cost him like £500, and we were watching Boardwalk Empire on them. And at the very beginning, when all that I think it's Boardwalk Empire, where all the blood splatters like coming up in the credits. Is that right? Or am I thinking of something completely different?
I don't think they do TV shows in 3D, do they?
I can't remember what it was, but we were watching something with these glasses on, and the credits were going up, like the opening credits, and there were all these blood splatters, and dude, these blood splatters actually came out of the screen, and I almost like could imagine they were going to hit me in the face. But these goggles were like, yeah, they were personalised. They were these like £500 a bob things. So they were really
This stuff
cool.
came out of him and it hit you in the face. Wow, that's 3D.
Yeah, I know. What do you
Well, we should get on with the show because Ellie's got to go and work out with her dad. And that's not a euphemism. She's actually working out. Yes, we are doing episodes, minutes 56 to 58. And it's a bit of exposition. It's when we get introduced to J.K. Rowling's character. We're not writing Harry Potter books. She's a retired cop.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons, of course, plays O'Brien, who's the cop we met at the start of the movie when... the 1984 segment, who gets his life saved when Sarah Connor drives through the department store window in an armoured car. How he remembers her face, as Ellie rightly pointed out in the last episode, we do not know. And yeah, he comes and just does a bit of exposition, saying he was the young cop, the actor playing him who looked nothing like him at the time, playing the young O'Brien. That's why I never put two and two together. And Ellie did actually ask, I think, on the last episode, you thought he was going to be Dr. Silberman, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I've got in my notes at the time when they were filming this, because it was all like under wraps and hush hush. It was rumoured and speculated that J.K. Simmons was actually going to be like Earl Boen's character, Dr. Silberman.
God, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Because you did say he looks like him, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
He really looks like him. I have so many qualms with this particular 2 minutes. My first qualm being, I had the same qualm in the previous episode when we had the young physician, and he's.
Do you have an alternative word for qualms?
Issues, me no likeys.
It's become basically for you, I think.
I haven't used the word qualm in ages.
You've just done it 3 times in the last 20 seconds. How's that true?
Well, if you listen back to the last 20 episodes, I haven't actually used the word qualm at all. What's wrong with the word qualm? You use basically as a filler. You don't use it in its true sense of the word. Why I use qualm is because I have issues with these particular minutes.
I think it's my finding my thought word,
You just go basically. Just basically. What's your name? Basically. And then it just becomes a sound and loses all meaning. Whereas qualm, I can't really use qualm.
That's just a noise.
That's just a noise. All right, my issues. Give me a tissue because I've got an issue. We have this policeman and this police woman. he gets his phone out and starts saying, right, well, you know, you guys have got a lot of answering to do. We couldn't find anything on you, lady. Who the hell are you? A policeman cannot use his mobile phone as a thing of
notes.
Or
because it's
of
private information.
Or, yeah, that's his personal phone. A really shit iPhone model, by the way.
I think is that an iPhone? It looks more like one of those like HTCs or like a weird Sony phone.
No, it's an iPhone. Cause remember they brought out ones maybe like a year or two ago where you could get them with the different plastic covers, and you could get a yellow one, a green one, a blue one, and a pink one. And I think he's got the yellow one. I don't know.
No, because it's basically got squared off and sharp edges. Another one you mean? It's called the 5C, and it was like a plastic back, but they've got rounded edges slightly. So I don't think it is. That's why I think it's like some one of those like Windows or a Sony phone.
Or a Nokia one or something.
Yeah.
Either way, a policeman would not be using his mobile phone to start doing all this stuff. It is utterly ridiculous. Plus, again, I will state my case, and I actually know someone who works in a hospital, and I actually asked them, are mobile phones allowed in hospitals? She said you are allowed to have them, but they should be on either aeroplane mode or on silent. They should not be anywhere near any kind of machinery, and doctors or nurses would definitely not have them even on their person. They'd be locked away in their locker. So that, my friend, is a cock-up. Bing!
Bing! It is like an alternate reality, though, isn't it? So you could argue that, like...
Oh,
well, I mean, it's in there because it's a stupid plot device, isn't it?
I think you've been bribed.
I mean, if anything, the orderly should have been on his break, and then she could have gone, why does it say Genesis on there?
Salvation and Genesis than any kind of issues that we had with the original two films. I think you're being sponsored by someone, and I don't like it.
We know you cash your checks, McKinley.
Right. So the second thing that I wrote down, we have the male policeman. So he's saying, oh, you know, we can't find anything on you, no high school records, no driving license, no nothing. Immediately turns to Kyle, so he hasn't even asked Sarah who she actually is at this point. All he said to her is, we don't know who you are. Doesn't ask her, so his questioning techniques are pretty poor. Now, I would have thought, considering Sarah and Pops would have had so much time to plan for this, and also Pops has had the last 20 years to hide out, prepare bunkers and collect, I don't know, ammunition or whatever, you would have thought they might have had some kind of backstory or some kind of backup so that there would be some kind of record of these people so they wouldn't have stood out so much. Well, that's what I would have thought. And second of all, why wouldn't there be any records of Sarah ever being alive? Because
she would have been born initially before she lost her family and he took over as a, I guess, protector, a guardian. Right?
Well, then how can...
No, I know what you mean. There'd be a birth certificate at least for her, wouldn't there?
Obviously, she's going to have to give birth to John Connor. John Connor still is in this future. He's just now become a Terminator, so he still needs to be born. So that means that Sarah was still alive. So there should be some form of record of, even if it is 20 or 30 years ago, when they ran her prints through, that should have come up with someone that died 30 years ago. Why are there no records of it?
No. What I'm saying is there would be a birth certificate. There's even an easier way of explaining what you've just said. There would be a birth certificate at least for Sarah Connor because she was a living person until the Terminator entered her life. The only thing I can think of is that Pops has been trained to kind of go into official... Maybe he got a job as a civil servant or worked at the police department as a stoic policeman. And I guess maybe like wiped all the records.
But then if he was going to do that, couldn't you then doctor records?
Oh, doctor.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Wouldn't he then be able to have doctored records to then show that Sarah Connor is actually a person, so that then this scenario wouldn't have ever arisen? They wouldn't be like, hang on a second, this chick is completely off the grid.
This woman's been doctored.
And unfortunately, not by Kyle. So yeah, that surprised me a little bit. I was like, why are there absolutely no records of her whatsoever? Do you not think that's a bit weird?
It is weird. I think it's just something they've overlooked actually in the plot because they've got loads of other details, right? They've tried to get like they've created this bizarre subplot with O'Brien who kind of doesn't need to be in it. And then, yeah, they forget freaking Sarah Connor's birth certificate, or they just kind of like forget. Yeah, they kind of gloss over that, don't they? Kyle exists clearly, so does Sarah Connor.
And then also coming on to the next part of this particular 2 minutes, which is when they've completely given up on asking Sarah even what her name is, let alone who she is. They then turn to Kyle and go, oh yes, well, we found some stuff on you, Kyle Reese, we found your prints, blah, blah, blah. You're a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, and then I gave her a pearl necklace. Hi everyone, we're back. We had a bit of an interruption in our Zencaster link then. Ellie, what were we discussing again?
I was just talking about when the police then turn to Jai Courtney and they start saying to him, well, we know who you are, you're Kyle Reese, you're a 12-year-old boy, what the hell, this is weird. And then... yeah, my question is how can Jai be in this timeline when there is also another Jai who's 12-year-old in this timeline? I would have thought that would cause quite a ripple. Or
No, because as we've had in the other Terminator films, two people can... in most time travel films, I don't think there's been a time travel film where two people can't coexist in the same space. The only time that's really happened I can think of, really, is Time Cop, the Van Damme film. If you went back in time in the Time Cop universe and you kind of met your younger or older self, depending on who went through time, you die. But not only if you were like pushed together. There's like the end of the film, there's Ron Silver who plays the bad guy. Van Damme, I think, pushes him into his older self from the timeline. Basically, he's a corrupt politician who discovers time travel technology, and he's going around time like stealing money and like working the polls to kind of like become president eventually. He gets pushed into himself basically, and the two halves go blah, and they just turn into basically blancmange and explode out of the the space-time continuum.
They talk about that. They talk about that in the film.
Well, in the previous film, as we know, I mean, there is younger and older versions of themselves as they go in and out of time. I think, well, obviously it's done in Back to the Future. Is this the first time it's happened in the Terminator films? I don't think it has, right?
But they talk.
Well, Kyle Reese would have to exist, wouldn't he?
Yeah. They talk about this actually in Doctor Strange. But that's another story. Yeah, so I wasn't quite sure on that. The next thing that we then discover, well, not discover, but the next thing that then happens in this scene is we have this policeman who's had this altercation with Sarah and Kyle back in 1980 or whatever. He comes charging in. I would have thought that what just happened would be really quite big news, that there would be high security, and that not just any old pissed up copper could just walk into hospital, find where they actually are, and then just walk into the room.
Yes, Skynet, you missed a trick there. You could have sent a Terminator to do his job.
Exactly. Now, when he first walks in, he just walks in, and then he starts talking to Sarah and Kyle, and then you kind of... The camera goes back to him, and then you see the two policemen stood at the door. It's like, well, where were you 5 minutes ago? Yeah. Like, why did they just... Well, I didn't actually see them stood in the doorway before, but why would the police just let him walk in willy-nilly? And then these two policeman and policewoman, they just stand back and just let him talk to them. That could be massively damaging to their case, or it could be really traumatic for both of these guys, or he could be with them. Do you know what I mean? It's just, there seems to be no sense of kind of like urgency. These two police people don't seem to be taking this scenario seriously at all. I don't know, I think they seem quite blasé about it.
They're skeptics though, aren't they?
just...
So, like, he's obviously the crazy cop at the precinct who's been spouting this rubbish for years. Like, I've seen Bigfoot, and no one actually believes him or takes him seriously.
I believe
so I guess they don't see him as a kind of threat to any case, because he's so kind of overlooked and, I guess, marginalised within that department. Because they obviously know who he is, and like, ugh, him again.
This pisshead.
Do you know? Yeah.
But I think that they would be a bit... In reality, they'd say, excuse me, mate, what the hell are you doing in here? Well, he wouldn't have even gained access, because apparently there's 2 policemen on the door. So, whether they were
but
out
they just
having
might
a
go,
quick fag.
It's O'Brien again. What's he looking for this time? UFOs? Bigfoot? Go in, do whatever you like.
Well, they'd certainly found Bigfoot when they found Jai. Yes, the next thing is, he's talking, he's like, yes, I remember you, and I remember you. You were there, and he turns to Sarah, and he goes, you saved my life. And then Kyle and Sarah kind of give him this look. Do you think they remember him?
Well, yeah, because oh dear. Sorry, hang on. We're getting a bit of reverb. Sorry, listeners, bear with me. We're having a bit of a funny day with the old connection today.
I know.
And that's not a euphemism, that's the Zencaster. No, I think the trip for them is instantaneous. So he literally only arrived, I guess, last night,
Yes.
you could say, in his timeline. So the trip for him has been instantaneous, whereas O'Brien has had to wait 30 years to see these people. A little bit like when Marty had to say goodbye to Doc, and Doc's got to take the long route, as Arnold would say, and wait 30 years until 1985 to see Marty again.
Marty.
Yeah. So no.
So, no, what you mean is, yes, they would recognise him.
They would remember him, but yeah. How he'd know exactly who they were, and
Okay.
how he'd keep his how he'd keep tabs on everyone's case in order that these people might cross his path again. I guess that's a plot hole of some
That would
description.
rock your world, though, whether it be positive rocking or negative. I mean, if that happened to you and you saw that, that would last with you. And I guess seeing these two would completely freak
It
the
would,
shit
but
out
would
of
you remember them? Would you
Yeah, of course
remember
you would.
someone you met 20 years ago for
Would you
3
as-
minutes?
It depends
Do
on
you know
how
what I
much of an
mean?
impact they have. I can remember odd things from when I was very, very young, but if they've had a very large impact on your life, then yeah, you can remember it like that. It's like sometimes you can eat something and it takes you back to a very specific memory, or you can smell something and all of a sudden you're projected back to that time. No.
Smell this, eat this.
What's that, chloroform? Smell of childhood. Yeah, can we now address the attitude that Sarah's gets to in this particular 2 minutes? She is such a cunt. She
Whoa.
is just disgusting.
Tell us what
Her
you're into.
whole demeanour, her whole "I'm ordering you to shut up." It's just like you are a feminazi. You are literally a feminazi. Jai, bless him, he's stating the case, and she's just like, "Shut up." He had a hit to the head. She's just being so rude. I don't know what her plan was to just turn up in the future without any kind of backstory as to who she is. There's no records of her. She's got this horrible attitude, and she's got this face like a smacked ass the whole time, with these pursed lips and this fat face. Oh, I just want to punch her. So she's just being really rude. They start getting into an argument.
You can bring this up with her next time you do a celebrity party. And
Oh
she's
my
at
god,
it.
I will. I'll be like, "You suck, Sarah Connor." And I would say that. If I can say Harrison Ford, Harrison! I've got no issues with going up to Amelia and Clark and just punching her in the face and be like, "That's for fucking up Sarah Connor. Goodbye." Yeah, so and then she goes, "It's your fault we're stuck in this situation." Why is it Jai's fault that they're stuck in that situation? Why is she blaming him all of a sudden?
Yeah, because Pop's built the time machine. He got them in that situation, technically.
Like, she's blaming them for the fact that they've been found by the police, and it's just like, look, you landed in the middle of a freeway completely butt naked. You're not saying anything. At least Jai is
She's
trying
just
to
upset
make
because
this...
he went to take the hit from the plane, the car.
Flippin' heck, if she survived
was-
the plane
it was-
hit, then I think she was a Terminator.
It was Sarah Connor took the actual hit in the edit.
Do you
didn't
not
he?
think,
He turned
though?
and then she gets hit. That's
Do you
why
not
she's
think,
angry.
though, that when he's talking to her and she just goes, "I'm ordering you to shut up," is that not just like those feminazis where you see them in those videos? As soon as you actually ask them to give you any factual information, or that you're asked a direct question, they just go, "I'm shutting down, fuck you," and they just start swearing, and then they walk off, and they're just like, "No, you don't know what we're talking about." It's like, no, you've just completely lost the argument. She screams feminazi in this massively. She
does.
really, really
Well,
does.
it's a strong female role,
Ugh,
isn't
she
it?
makes me sick. If these are the women that I'm meant to look up to, then no, sign me out.
Well, Ellie, a bit like, well, on the subject of feminazis, the Borg Queen was obviously the leader of the Borg in the Star Trek
I
film
thought she was
Generations. Actually, that was the latest First Contact, 1997. The T-3000, the Terminator that we're actually going to meet in the next scene, which is the John Connor version of the Terminator, which is the nanobot version of the Terminator, the new version, which I guess they run out of ideas to try and create a Terminator, so they tried to do it like a T-1000 in Lego or whatever they did. It's nanobots. Every tiny thing is a little piece of him, I guess. Anyway, it's partly based on the Borg, Ellie, the main villains of Star Trek, the Generation
the
TV
Borg was
series, and
great.
its spin-off
Borg was
DS9
so
and
good.
Voyager series. Both the T-3000 and the Borg infect its host subject where the damage is irreversible, and also whatever hits or things it takes, it learns and teaches itself to kind of
It
like...
assimilates.
I guess that's the word, assimilates, and I guess can protect itself from such attacks. So that's why in the film, was it the First Contact, they create on the holodeck that 1930s kind of ballroom scene. was it 40s, and he gets that a Tommy gun, see?
My dad used to have a crush on the
And he
Doctor.
shoots it with the Tommy gun bullets.
A Tommy gun.
Your dad had a crush on the Borg Queen.
No, you know the Doctor in Generation, the ginger-haired one. My dad always had a thing for her. Yeah.
Beverly Crusher.
And she would.
Yeah, she wasn't that.
Yeah, but she was quite pleasant. She was better than the mind reader one. That Jew. Sorry. I'm really sorry. I have no filter today.
Oh, the website I got you sent you the Jew or not to
God. That was amazing.
I googled if Paul Simon was a Jew, and he in fact was.
Well, it's like I found out recently that my boss is like he's like a sixth Jew. And I was just like, I kind of got that feeling. I got that vibe about you.
What's a sixth
Well,
Jew?
there's Jewish blood, but it's like really far up the bloodline. He's like, yeah, my great.
Can I shock you, Ellie? I think I've got Jewish in me, but it's like one generation away.
Oh my god.
Apparently, after the
This
Second
affects
World War, our
everything. This changes everything.
our family name was Raven, and then it was changed. Apparently,
Raven
I think
isn't Jewish.
it was something weird. It's some Middle Eastern name. I think it was something.
Are
Then it
you
became
hoping
Raven,
that
and
someone's
they
going to
changed
pick
it
up on this and
again.
go, oh my god, McKinley, he's Jewish. Right, stardom.
No, apparently there's some dark family secret or some dark family secret or shame attached to Jewishness. So I think it was all like covered up. I need to ask my mother about it, but she knows.
I don't see any Jew in you whatsoever.
What do you see in me? Apart from the next episode of the show.
What do I see in you? No, I see you as like, I see you from some kind of like Nordic stock. I really do, because of your shape and your colour.
Got dark olive skin and brown eyes, Ellie.
So? Oh, what? So do you think you're exotic? Do you? Babe, you've got brown skin. 'cause
There's
you
something in
fucking
there.
sunbed, and I know you do.
You're a white person. I'm not
Yeah,
a
but
white
then I look at
person.
your mum and your dad, and neither of them. You're just weird. You're like.
My mother looks like an Arabic.
Your mum looks like Al
fucking
Pacino. Let's not
Alice Cooper.
sugarcoat it. And your
Well,
dad
Pacino's
looks
Italian.
very English and white to me. So what I mean is you almost don't look. You have the same facial kind of recognition of your mother, but nothing else. I don't see any of your dad in you. I don't. Your mum's colouring isn't dark. It's weird. Very weird.
My mother's colouring is dark as hell. What are you talking about?
Well, that's weird because I've met your mum many times and never thought, cool, she's brown.
Imagine any other 81-year-old woman, and they're kind of almost clear-skinned and white-haired. She's
well,
dark.
my nan's dark.
You do. You know what you're doing? You're doing this delusion on yourself, a bit like the
No, I think
Watchers
you're
of
just
Star
trying to convince
Wars
yourself
Episode
that
1
it's
in
exotic
1999 when they didn't want to admit it was a crappy film. Jewish isn't exotic.
Babe, you're in heavens. You're Welsh.
I've got a cock up for you, Ellie, and it's not me being possibly Jewish.
Cock up.
Detective O'Brien, played by J.K. Simmons, and well, the young O'Brien, of course, was played by Wayne Bastrup, who looks nothing like J.K. Simmons. Detective O'Brien's rank in the San Francisco Police Department is addressed as detective. However, in reality, his rank would be inspector.
I see. Any more cock-ups, you think?
I have no idea what it means
I was
either,
gonna
but
say
there we
this
go.
means literally nothing. We're just gonna go with it.
At least it related to someone actually in the clip, and that's a first. I don't think his rank would be detective, basically. I think it's an oversight. I'm not sure in what capacity. This is just the only kind of piece of trivia I could find on it, but he would actually be an inspector, not a detective. So unless he just graduated up from... Maybe it's like one rank up from
Like you.
policeman. Yeah,
I can't believe you
basically.
think you're Jewish. I'm sorry, but that's a hilarious thing.
Well, ask my mother next time
Oh
we see
yeah,
her.
because I'm gonna believe everything your mum says is gospel. The one that can't even remember things that happened to your brother and the things that happened to you and crossing over, like telling you all these horrible things that happened to you
Yeah.
as a kid. And I was like, oh my god, Ethan, did this happen? You're like, no, it's my brother. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and then she calls me Nigel when she
There
actually
you
means
go.
my name.
Yes, I'm gonna definitely believe
There
what
we
this
go.
woman says about her being Jewish. What a shit. Your
It's
dad
some
would've been
weird
better with
Middle Eastern
money.
connection. And relationships, because I'm from a broken home.
Yeah, Jewish
have you
families
got
stay
anything else to
together,
add?
do you know why? 'Cause it keeps all the assets all under one roof. I
Keep
have.
the nose is big.
Why are Jews' noses so big?
Because they keep money in there, I don't know.
It's actually a Jew that told me that joke. Absolutely amazing. But I did have one last thing to say about this particular 2 minutes. And if you're watching the clip that I resent back to you, you'll be able to see it. So we live in a world where they say, you know, physical abuse, it's not cool. Whenever you see an advert on TV, it's always about some horrible husband that's been punching his wife because he got his dinner wrong, or he bought in the wrong newspaper. In this particular scene, we get to see Sarah kneeing Kyle straight in the gonads. Is that fair? Is that fair, I ask you? He's come all the way back through time, gone further through into time, and he's just got a knee in the bollocks. Do you think that Kyle is right to give her a slap back? I think he is. Can you imagine?
Well, if I was being attacked by a woman, I would have to kind of like take her down in some way. I'm not saying I'd punch her head off, but you'd have to kind of like stop them somehow.
Honestly, she needs him straight in the bollocks. That's so uncalled for. Like, think about it, love. John Connor's in there.
Oh yeah.
I'd love it if after that happened, John Connor came out like all spasticated, and he was like a thalidomide child, with like his tongue stuck to his elbow, and his knee attached to a rib. That'd be so funny.
Like your brother Baron.
Oh, Baron. No, the really sad thing about Baron is when Baron was born, when Baron was up to the age of 3, he was a really good-looking kid, he was really boisterous, he was really confident. Apparently, as soon as I was born, that was it. Baron just went into his shell massively, and I was really bossy, I was really not very nice, and basically bullied my brother into submission. Now he is literally a completely different person. Dude, I genuinely worry that I made my brother the way he is. And that's savage.
Probably did. You made me the way I am.
Oh, Ethan, I big you up all the time. You just don't listen to me.
Anyway, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe on YouTube. You can actually watch the clip we're talking about, Mystery Science Theater 3 Skate. I need a vacation.
And can I just
Terminator.
Before you do the rest of it?
We've got a YouTube channel. We've got a Twitter page. Just follow, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can actually watch the clip as we talk about it in video commentary. Mystery Science Theater 3. Mystery Science Theater 3K style. Sorry, I've had a rough weekend. Ellie, what else are we going to say? Sorry.
The last thing I want to say on this is for all of those that do write into us, aka Spaldner, every now and again, John, please do vote on Ethan, Jew or not, please. I'm to heeb
or not to heeb. And on that bombshell, me and Ellie will actually return tomorrow with Thursday's show. There may or may not be a Friday show because I'm not available, and Ellie. If we do 2 tomorrow, we'll get Fridays in.
Friday. I don't know what you're doing with these episodes.
No, because we missed Sunday, didn't we?
Sunday. I was around.
Oh, Lynn. Anyway, we shall return. Enjoy the rest of your evening, whoever's listening, or day, ladies and gentlemen. And we shall return. I'm going to get back to bed now because I'm connected. Over and out.
Hasta la vista.
Bye. Hasta la vista.
Baby.
Watch out for machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines. They will rule the world. I'll be back.